As you know, we are in the series of messages on Romans chapter 8. We're looking at this central chapter in this, the seminal work that Paul wrote to these Christians in Romans. And this book has had amazing impact all around the world and all across the face of history, myself included. And I've been thinking and praying this week that what you hear this morning will impact you tremendously. I hope that you'll hear something here that you've never heard before, that you will come to understand the hope and promise that God has for you, sons and daughters of God. But let's begin with verse 18. This week I was in Tucson, Arizona. That's a place where my mom lives. She had a birthday, I should say that. She had a birthday a couple weeks ago, and I wasn't able to make it, but I decided to go out after a couple of weeks to visit with her because I am such a good son, okay? And I took with me a little thumb drive of photographs of our family. Now, my mom has lived in Tucson for 25 years, while Fran and I and our children have lived here in Plano for 25 years. So we've been separated by 900 miles in 25 years. And any chance I get, I want to send her a picture, give her pictures to put on her little photographic viewer on her kitchen table so that she gets the picture of what our family's like. She's connected to us, but she's not that familiar with, the day-to-day operations of our family. So I send her these pictures, these little postcards for her to look at on a routine basis. Now, I'm telling you this because this is the image I want you to understand from Romans chapter 8, when Paul, who's going to lay before you two amazing pictures, postcards, photographs of what life is like in the kingdom. They're visions, they're images that I pray, and I've been praying this week, that you would be able to take these, hold them fast, drill them down deep in your soul, because ultimately they will and should affect the way we live day to day. So we begin with verse 18, and the Apostle Paul begins with what your 8th grade composition teacher wanted you to begin every paragraph with, a topic sentence. Everything after this is about this topic sentence, but he says essentially in verse 18, "For I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be revealed in us." Would you read that with me? "For I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be revealed to us." See, there's something about this. He's not dismissing the sufferings. He's not saying that there is no pain. He's not saying, buck up, get over it, you can do it. He is saying, no, when you understand this, in light of what is to come, it's not even worth comparing the two. It would be, and he uses the image later, like a woman in labor. When I was there for the birth of my children, I was with Fran, I was her coach. What am I doing while she's in pain, while she is in labor? Am I saying, come on, you can do this? Come on, billions of women have done this. You can do it. It can't hurt that bad. My mom said it didn't hurt her that bad. Come on, you can do it. No, it's not what you do. You put her mind on what is to come. Baby's coming. He's coming. She's coming. Whatever you're saying, one day, very soon, all this pain won't even be remembered in light of the great joy that is to be revealed in just a few minutes or hours. That's what Paul is saying. And then he gets out the first postcard. And it's a postcard that shows us a picture of the created order of things, nature, the way the world is. Rivers and lakes and streams and the things that happen on a day-by-day basis and season-by-season basis in creation. And he is going to personify it. He's going to put it in like it's a human, the way the Bible does sometimes. It'll say the mountains will sing or the rivers clap their hands. Creates a vision, a visual symbol. So what he's doing here is he's personified nature, personified creation, And this is what he says, verse 19. For the creation, and this again is everything that we see in the created order, for the creation waits with eager longing for the revealing of the sons of God. That is, there's something about the nature, creation, that waits in eager expectation for what is to come, the revealing of the sons of God. For the creation was subjected to futility. What he means by that is the endless cycle of birth and death and rising and falling and entropy, where things of order fall into decay. He's saying it was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of him, that is God, who subjected it, in the hope that creation itself will be set free from bondage to decay and obtain the freedom of the glory of the children of God. Something will happen in the future, he's saying, that will affect creation. When the sons of God are set free, when they are revealed, and I'll get into this in a minute, then that also is going to be a time when the bondage to corruption, the futility of nature and creation will be overcome. And then finally, verse 23 says, and not only the creation, verse 22, for we know that the whole creation has been groaning together in the pains of childbirth until now. That's the postcard of creation that he's giving to us. What's he mean? 5 years ago, on Sunday, Category 5 hurricane was headed toward Louisiana. We all know what happened. It was devastating. Hundreds and hundreds of people lost their lives, billions of dollars in property damage. People say, well, why did this happen? What kind of God is God that would allow these kinds of things to happen? And that's not the question. The question is, what kind of world do we live in? Would you not say that the world, the universe is broken? I mean, there's a part of it that's glorious. There's a part of the creation that's absolutely beautiful, but wouldn't you agree with me that, and the Apostle Paul, that creation's broken? It's violent out there. Things that are put together in one age, disassembled, they disintegrate in another. Just this last week, as I say, I was in Arizona visiting my mom. We decided to get in a car and drive down to Nogales, the hometown I was raised in. What do you do when you go to your hometown? You haven't been there in 35 years. You drive by the place you used to live. We couldn't believe our eyes. This home that was our home, time has not been good to that home. Wind, weather, disrepair, siding coming off, fascia boards popping out, and a really bad coat of yellow paint just completely changed the house. We drove up to the house, and there was a rose garden that my mother was careful to plant and to tend, and she sent me into it to pull the weeds, so we both had an interest in it. Completely gone, covered with weeds. Whatever was there of beauty is completely changed now because of time. We stopped at a restaurant that I remember sitting at when I was 6 years old. Time had not been good to that place either. Management had changed hands many times, and just the whole upkeep of the restaurant itself, now the building's 60 years old, nearly falling down. Drove by the high school, and I saw the footbridge across the arroyo that I used to use when I walked to school every day, uphill in the snow, both ways. Okay? I wouldn't let my children walk on this footbridge. It had been disintegrated over time. You pick up the newspaper this morning, doesn't matter what day, you're going to find nature, creation, as beautiful as it is violent. It's locked into an endless cycle of up and down, rising and falling, spring and winter, over and over and over again. And you're saying to yourself, well, yeah, that's nature. Of course, that's the way it is. But you don't have the image that Paul has in his mind, because he has the image of paradise, where there is no harm, there is no danger, there is no disintegration. He has the image of the garden where everything was pristine and beautiful. And he says in so many words, there will come a time when all of this that we see around us will be replaced by a new heaven and a new earth. The vision, the picture in the Bible is that a new Jerusalem will come down from heaven. And that will be the place where we dwell with God. There will be a hope and a future that is ours forever, because this planet, this earth, this place we live will finally be a place of safety and beauty, forever beautiful, forever strong. That's the vision that Paul says. When's it going to happen? Well, we don't know. We know that it won't happen when we die, because when we die, we go to be with God. But there is a life after death. And the life is when Jesus comes back here, and when he comes, and we say it in our church, Christ has died, Christ is risen, Christ will come again. When we say that, we are casting this picture of what will happen in the new heaven and the new earth. That the creation now that is groaning in pains of labor, that is waiting eagerly for the sons of God to be revealed, that is waiting and hoping this creation one day will be a creation that is of absolute beauty, safety, and joy. So he lays down that postcard. I just want you, don't forget, there is a glory that will happen to all of creation when the sons of God will be revealed. And meanwhile, we wait. But then he throws another postcard down in the next verse. Look what it says in verse 23. He says, and not only the creation is waiting, but we ourselves, you and I, who have the first fruits of the Spirit, we've been given the Holy Spirit at our belief, at our conversion, but yet we still groan inwardly as we wait eagerly for adoption as sons. The papers have been drawn up. I spoke to you about that last week, but we have not been brought home. We eagerly await for adoption as sons, for the redemption of our bodies. Now, this is such a powerful picture that he lays down. I need to describe it to you in a way I've never done before. I want you to imagine what it's like in this place when there's a funeral. When an old person has died or a young person has lost their life tragically. When a person has suffered for months and months, maybe in years and years of illness, and finally expired. Or when tragically somebody's been killed in an automobile accident. The place fills up with people in dark clothes. There's a hush and a murmur of sound everywhere. And at some point, right when the service is about to begin, the family is escorted out of that room, and they sit right here in these front pews. And the priests and the members of the service are in the back. And just when it's absolutely quiet, I will say two words. All rise, and people stand. Would you stand? Right now, stand. I say all rise, and people stand. And then what comes next is the hope of eternal life.
We thank you for joining us online. The ministries of Christ Church Plano are made possible by generous contributions from our members and viewers. If you have found this sermon meaningful and would like to make a gift of support, please visit christchurchplano.org/give. Thank you.